Hi, and welcome to this Weekday Word. Our New Testament passage in the daily office continues in the 10th chapter of the book of Acts, the account of Peter with Cornelius. And as you may recall from before this passage today, Peter has been praying, and in his prayer has seen a vision of a sheet full of unclean animals being lowered down and being told, "Rise and kill and eat." And God telling him, "Don't call what I have made clean unclean or common." And out of that, then Peter, knowing that it was okay to go to the house of Cornelius, a non-Jew, a centurion, to share the gospel with him. And he begins his preaching to Cornelius' household by saying, "Truly I perceive that God shows no partiality." What an incredible line that is. God shows no partiality. In other words, salvation is not just for the Jews, but for the whole world. And in that, I think we can remember at least two things. First, God showing no partiality means that he wills that all be saved. He wants the whole world to come to know his saving love. And so, in showing no partiality, we need to remember that we are not beyond the reach of God's love. Sometimes, as we look at our own lives, we wonder whether God would actually want us to be saved, whether it's worth it or not. And the answer is yes. God's love is for the whole world. It's for you and for me. No matter what we've done, no matter what we're doing, no matter how bad our life has been or good our life has been, we can look to that and say, God wills that all be saved. God shows no partiality. And so the good news of the gospel is for us. Secondly, though, it means that we are to show no partiality. Sometimes we decide ahead of time who actually deserves God's grace, who God would want to save, and we'll deal with those people, but no one else. We put people outside the reach of God's grace, and I think we do that in a couple ways. Sometimes for people that we know, we come to the conclusion that they're just not going to change and God's not going to get them. We need to repent of that. God can reach anybody. He reached Saul of Tarsus, a man who was killing followers of Jesus. And Saul then became Paul, the great apostle to the Gentiles. We do it also by deciding who we don't like. We'll extend God's love and God's grace to people that we do like, people typically who are like us. But that's not the way not showing partiality works. We are to extend God's love in word and in deed to everyone, those who are like us, those who are not like us, those we like, those that we don't like, those we agree with, those we disagree with. And so we are to put no one outside the reach of God's grace and love, not from God's reach and not from ours. We need to be willing to share God's love in word and deed, showing no partiality. Incredible words. And truthfully, there's much more to be said about how incredible they are. But for today, let these 2 points hold, that we are not outside the reach of God's love, and so we likewise are not to put anyone else outside the reach of God's love in and through us. Be blessed this day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.